Welcome to beautiful Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and the USL Championship on a very busy Friday night here on ESPN+. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds are making their ascent up the Atlantic Division, and today they welcome a New York Red Bulls side that ultimately they turned their fortunes against about a month ago. With Eric Dobransky, Mike Watts on hand, Pittsburgh, you could argue, got their first win against Red Bull, but when you talk to Bob Lilly, it was the game against Miami at home where they felt like they really got the tide going the other way.
And he felt like they were extremely purposeful, intentful, going forward and being dynamic in that attack, and that kind of built the momentum going on the road to Indy 11 and getting that crucial win against Tampa Bay Rowdies the other night.
You could argue those are two of the best road wins you can get in the league, and Russell Cicerone right now is playing at a level he's never experienced, and many of us are seeing him score at a clip he hasn't before.
And it's just being effective and efficient in an attacking half. He sees dangerous areas and recognizes moments, ranked in the top 5 in the Eastern Conference with goals with 5, and he's a player that really is going to look to get this Pittsburgh side ahead early.
And in order to do that, Alex Dixon might be the provider here. He's played all over the wide areas.
And he was not directly involved in the 2 goals against Tampa, but Bob Lilly was extremely pleased with his performance, his ability to take the game to Tampa, and his effectiveness in the attack. Also almost found the 3rd goal versus Tampa midway through that second half.
Let's talk about the standings in the Atlantic Division, why this game matters. If you're New York, this is your 10th game, and you're still on 8 points. You win right below the playoff line. If you're Pittsburgh and you win, you're putting a little heat on the Rowdies.
It is, and with the Rowdies team that plays Hartford tomorrow night, and then Charlotte plays tomorrow night as well. So for Pittsburgh, you're at home. You haven't won at home yet, but this is a prime opportunity to get 3 points.
Let's talk about someone who should feel a little bit at home in a New York jersey in Pennsylvania. Jeremy Raffanello came up through Penn State and with Bethlehem Steel as well.
And what a moment to score his first professional career brace, because this team needed a win after that disappointing result against Hartford. He scored 2 goals, and really he's tied for second in the USL in the Eastern Conference with 3 assists as well, so he can score and create.
Well, here we go. Pittsburgh and New York. Tremendous rivalry match in store. It's about as even as could be in its history. Got lineups and kickoff when we return to Highmark.
Before, you weren't able to walk very far.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. I couldn't even get out of bed sometimes.
How are you walking now?
I'm walking 6 miles a day.
Awesome.
Getting control back is living proof. The AHN Neuroscience Institute.
Just in time for the start of the 2021 season, we're offering Riverhounds Mini Flex Plan. Flex Plans are 6 vouchers to use any way you want over the 2021 season to catch the Hounds in action. Use them all for one game or spread them out through the season. With 3 different plans starting at $90, you can choose anywhere in Highmark Stadium to cheer on the Hounds. Visit riverhounds.com or call 412-865-GOAL.
All right, Johnny, Gus has a very tricky putt for birdie.
No doubt about it, Jim. It's clear he wants to finish strong.
You got this.
There's the signature hip shimmy. Oh, wait, this is something new.
It's the new $1,000 dreaming from the PA lottery.
With top prizes of $500,000.
Woohoo!
What a putt! You can't make this stuff up. This is your best round yet, Gus.
Let's tee it up to luck. Keep on scratching.
Summer is almost here, and so are the Riverhounds Academy Summer Technical Clinics. We have 3 sessions which are geared to players interested in developing technical skills in multiple areas over the course of the week. Clinics are led by Riverhounds Development Academy trainers and current professional Riverhounds players. Clinics start July 5th, open to players 7 to 14 years old. Register online or contact the Academy office at 412-325-7238.
Welcome, everybody, to Highmark Stadium in Pittsburgh. USL Championship action on this Friday evening begins here with the Riverhounds and New York Red Bulls 2. With Eric Dobransky, Mike Watts, Here's the starting lineup for New York Red Bulls, too. They have not played very much. They've been preaching consistency. That's the exact same 11 as last time out.
And watch this front line of Mitchell and So. They're so dynamic in that attacking half, and they will high press this back line of Pittsburgh and cause a lot of issues for them building out of the back. And like we highlighted, Raffanello with those 2 goals against Charlotte.
Meanwhile,
and then with Pittsburgh, the same. You bring up a lineup with Cicerone, Dequa, and Dixon. Such a potent attack with Cicerone with 5 goals. And Griffin and Forbes there in the midfield playing playmaker, and Wharton and Rivera getting up and down that line and really providing services.
And Peters returns from a red card in the back, so he replaces Jalen Robinson. John Wolnick is the head coach for New York Red Bulls, too. Going back to 2015, he was a fan in New York, became a player, then a coach. And Jake LaCava, one of his young charges, hoping to lead the way in Pittsburgh this evening. Referee ready to begin this weekend in the USL Championship. We are underway from alongside the Monongahela in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Riverhounds and Red Bulls. What strange company those 2 animals are in theory. And what strange company these 2 teams are, Eric, in theory. You're talking about a Red Bulls team that presses. In Bob Lilly's estimation years past, he said they'll press you going to the bathroom. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, it's going to be a game of cat and mouse, perhaps.
Yeah, and for New York, I mean, what an incredible bounce back from really a poor performance in that 7-0 loss to Hartford Athletic. Really a good performance against Charlotte. A Charlotte team is towards the top of that Atlantic division. It's such a team in New York that can be dangerous in so many different moments. And you mentioned it in the open, looking for that consistency. And then Pittsburgh, they've really launched themselves up that Atlantic division with those road wins. And then Bob Lilly discussed it, that Miami result, that draw, a lot of commitment going forward and that urgency that he wanted to see.
Ball sliced back over the end line. For what it's worth, a very much on brand hydration decision on the bench too with the Red Bull there. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, 5 matches here in a 17-day stretch. And they've got 4 here in the next 12 beginning today. So the Riverhounds have a lot of work to do. Corner here for Pittsburgh. This is away and further from Wharton. Brought down by LaCava and driven back wide. This is ushered out by Juan Castillo. Luca Lewis is the 6'4", 19-year-old goalkeeper for New York. And split time in the early going this year with Anthony Marcucci. Trailing away is Wheat. This will be a goal kick. Chance to see Danny Vitiello on the other end. 8th start of the season, has allowed just 8 goals. Last year won the Golden Gloves in that pandemic shortened season. 5 shutouts in 8 games.
And going back to that spell that they're about to see at home for Pittsburgh, for a team that has not picked up 3 points at home, that can either be a welcome sight or a mix of emotions in terms of wanting to host. And here you have a New York team that, again, sits towards the bottom of that table in the Atlantic. I mean, you've got to look at this and really see, nothing but needing 3 points and really going after this game.
Kevin Fikar blows the whistle, and a free kick going back here from Pittsburgh. Yeah, it could get late very early on New York. This is a team that in the first 5 years of their existence made the playoffs each season, won a championship, both a regular season title and the playoff title in 2016. They're on 8 points through 9 games in a really competitive division.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I just think picking up these points, obviously they had that game against Charleston postponed due to weather. But these games are going to come up on you really quick if you don't start picking up some points, either draws on the road, 3 points at home. I say towards the bottom of the Atlantic, but just like you said, you have teams like Charlotte that got a really good result against Charleston this week. Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh, like, you know, that they're playing tonight. Hartford that plays Tampa Bay tomorrow night.
And I'm still not convinced we've seen the best of Charleston yet in this division. Perhaps Miami as well. This touched away by Dixon and sent into the central area. Chance to stride onto this. Pushed ahead for Dixon. Flicked into the air by Rivera. And settled in the penalty area by Cicerone. Rolled ahead here. Turning back. Dixon high. Alex Dixon, who scored 8 goals a couple seasons ago in Hartford, has played more the assist getter, but was looking for that final effort here.
And this is really just a good build-up play that you saw a lot against Tampa, is that patience of really allowing numbers to get forward. And Alex Dixon, really a good opportunity there to put his team up one early. But although they didn't see a lot of the possession against Tampa and they did get outshot, it was still a result for Pittsburgh where they recognized areas, they really exposed them in that counterattack.
And it's a feeling out process for both these sides. Both coaches have been fairly straightforward about that at the start of the year. There's Bob Lilly. Year number 4 in Pittsburgh and has made the playoffs all 3 seasons. That's par for the course for one of the all-time great coaches in American lower division soccer. This is a perfectly threaded ball ahead for So. So a second effort, both blocked. That time around by Peters. Edelman gets this wide. Castillo. Edelman. Another nice dissecting ball. Further by Raffanello. Rolling towards So. That was blocked. Maintained here by New York. And launched toward the Sweets.
Bob Lilly had discussed that he felt his team's still in that learning phase of the season and really still growing in the attacking side and defensively, really building that consistency. And then with all the praise that he had for his team, he obviously brought up the point that they still have not found that success there at home.
2 losses and a draw, which is certainly substandard for a Bob Lilly team at home. Wharton. Griffin pursued. Edelman laid that down the middle. Daniel Edelman again. LaCava. All the talk about Caden Clark this week, and he was a bit of an afterthought talking to Bob Lilly. More on that in a moment. Rolled ahead by Griffin and gets beyond Dixon. Caden Clark sold to Red Bull Leipzig in Germany. That's a transaction that'll ultimately come to pass in the January transfer window. He came up through New York Red Bulls too. And in speaking with Bob Lilly, he goes, I think Jake LaCava was the best player on Red Bulls 2 last year. And they had Caden Clark too.
An incredible compliment by Bob Lilly on LaCava. Again, there's just so much potential on this New York Red Bulls 2 side. And, you know, you just, even talking to Hartford about that 7-0 win.
Excellent ball ahead, coming off his line, Vitiello denying Mitchell. There have to have been at least 4 or 5 dissecting diagonal balls through midfield that have had Pittsburgh searching defensively.
And you're absolutely right. I think that there's 2 parts to that. Is this back line is getting really separated, and then that first ball pressure from the midfield has to come a bit sooner and quicker, a little bit more intent with the press. As you can see there, Forbes got turned around a bit. What a ball in to Mitchell there.
And Wheat had a very minute touch on that. Perhaps that made a difference. Roald Mitchell got a ton of praise, speaking with the Pittsburgh staff. A lot of football ahead of him. Primary crux of that conversation. Vitiello go over to claim this.
Bob Lilly just kept mentioning how they have the quality and they're hard to defend, and how much they need to slow them down. And we've already seen it with those dissecting passes. And then you add the piece that this is only their second game since June 5th. So that time to practice, that time to organize for this Red Bulls 2 side is so important.
Wharton wheels this back, floated forward by Dixon, claimed by Lewis. You've been a collegiate coach for a long time. When you're working with young players, oftentimes it's training that allows you to get remotely close to your potential, and the schedule so often doesn't give you the ability to get there.
It is, because when you're just going from game to game, you're really just trying to get results and really trying to build upon those performances. But when you can train, you can really be direct with what the intent and recognizing those moments in which, and I think transition for a young team like this, those transition moments are so important. Where are you going off the ball? Where are you on the ball?
Can't say that felt good at all for Peters.
So for this New York team, it's just putting both sides of the ball together. That's got to be the biggest piece, because even when you talk to Harry Watling at Hartford about that 7-0 win, they made it very difficult for Hartford for 30-plus minutes. And then the wheels fell off a little bit, and it just, you got Connor McGlynn with the goal from half field. It just compounded mistakes a bit in that match.
Watling said the following week, it felt like every time we got the ball across midfield, we thought we were going to score. Sometimes they didn't even need to get the ball across midfield to get there. Maybe a little tug there from LaCava. Play continues. Ball across for So, claimed by Vitiello, who's barking to the referee for a foul earlier with Wharton going down.
And Vitiello has already had to be extremely active off his line tonight, with the save on Mitchell earlier and then having to deal with this inviting ball played across.
Anything in that from LaCava for you?
Looked like he clipped his heels a bit. I was a little surprised that the referee didn't bring it back, but let play continue, and Red Bulls 2 almost had an opportunity to go up 1-0 there. Really well played in ball. Again, going back to the save with Vitiello early on with Mitchell, and then coming off his line there. Probably not the start that Bob Lilly wanted for his squad. Other than the opportunity with Dixon moments early in this match, really haven't connected and found a good rhythm there in the attacking portion of the field.
We've got a Giannis Adetokounmpo situation developing. Taking too long to take the free throw. This is flicked over for Forbes. Rolling to Cicerone. Got a shot away, fell down en route, and Raffanello launches all the way down to Vitiello. Good flick by Mitchell. Mitchell trying to get around Williams, unsuccessful.
And for Pittsburgh, you've just got to be a bit concerned with all the space that New York Red Bulls 2 is finding.
This is rolled over to Dixon. Unbelievable, it got there. There's the shot, it's off the base of the post by Dequa. Still more here for the Riverhounds. Rolled across Wharton, scores! A curling missile by Lewis. Pittsburgh takes the lead.
And just as I was about to critique their defending, Pittsburgh goes right down the field with an incredible opportunity. And that's the urgency and the commitment that Bob Lilly spoke to us this week about, that build-up play and really having the numbers and the commitment that go forward, because you could see here on the service and the connection by Dikwa, it hits the crossbar, it hits the post, and you still have plenty of numbers there. And then the awareness and the patience to wait for Wharton's run. What a start by this Pittsburgh side. I still think defensively they need to fix some of that space in between the seams from the midfield to the back line, but
Kenardo Forbes just announced the assist getter. He just set the Pittsburgh Riverhounds all-time record for most assists. He passes Kevin Kerr, the longtime captain, with number 27.
And really just, you know, going back to his time with Bob Lilly with the Rochester Rhinos, I mean, he was a winger back at Rochester, and Bob Lilly saw his ability to be a playmaker there centrally. I mean, just the consistency and the vision, the creativity that Kenardo Forbes has displayed throughout his career.
He pulled this young Jamaican player out of the indoor soccer league up in Syracuse. Cicerone gets this ahead, chipped toward the net and cleared from the line with Dikwa nearly getting that over. Good recovery in the back from Tomble.
I was talking about Pittsburgh's defending, but now New York seems to be scrambling a bit here. Really the first ball pressure, jumping into tackles and really creating its own chaos there in the 18-yard box. They really need to settle in here because, you know, up until that goal, New York has created several opportunities with that ball across, with that chance in behind by Mitchell.
And a graphic deserved over such a long period of time by Kenardo Forbes, affectionately simply called Kenny by Bob Lilly. The crowd in the Paul Child stand chanting his name. And you'd have to think that as his time continues to grow here in Pittsburgh, could he get to the standing of a Paul Child, of a Kevin Kerr? It appears he's very much reaching that lofty aspirational position now. This struck wide on the set piece by Raffanello.
And I was reading a story earlier on, obviously, a little bit of the career of Kenardo Forbes, and they asked him what one of his highlight assists were, and it was back in June in 2018 against this very Red Bulls 2 team on a Nico Brett goal, and it was special to him because it was his first career assist here at Highmark.
Wow. Forbes in the Major Arena Soccer League for Syracuse. Capped 3 times for Jamaica, went to the indoor game, returned outdoors to play in Champions League for Waterhouse in Jamaica as well. And a guy who in Rochester and Pittsburgh has been the standard setter year after year, nearly a double-double his final year in Rochester, 9 goals, 14 assists. And the frustrating part is the counting stats often aren't at an MVP kind of number where you get that accolade. And yet, you could argue that he's been right in that mix for years and years in this league. That proper, complete appreciation. This will run away from Dixon.
And recorded his first assist of the 2021 season against that Rowdies team a couple nights ago in that 2-1 win. So now 2 assists in 2 games. You know, just like Pittsburgh, you know, Kenardo Forbes and this team are just continuing to build momentum. Really looking at this home game as another building block moving forward. You know, tremendous spell on the road there with the wins at Indy 11 and Tampa Bay.
And look, you could try and take the shine off those saying Indy just changed managers. Coach Rogers starting his tenure as the interim manager at Indy 11. And already a defeat for Tampa Bay. They had dropped out of the ranks of the perfect. But I'm inclined to agree with Bob Lilly. There are going to be very few teams in the USL Championship that will take points, much less all three, away from Al Lang Stadium or the Mike in St. Pete or Indy.
Yeah, he referred to them as bonus points.
Yeah,
extra bonus points.
Bonus points in the bank. Now let's not give them back. Over Dixon here. So Canardo Forbes becomes a joint all-time assist leader for Pittsburgh with Kevin Kerr on 27. He'll pass him and stand alone next time. I would imagine that's not too far down the road. Pushed ahead here by Peters. The feet of Cicerone. And rolled ahead by Forbes. There's space out here to get the cross for Dequa. Instead, stays alive. Wharton arrives. Wharton hooks this over the top. The lanky striker Albert Dequa just not nearly tall enough to put this down.
Again, I'm going to keep bringing up the word commitment because you just see it in the initial and the late runners for Pittsburgh right now on the service. You have 2 or 3 really good runners, and then you also have 2 or 3 late runners that are causing a lot of issues for Red Bulls too here.
Mitchell, there he goes. Mitchell all the way! And Vitiello snuffs out what would have been one of the goals of Mitchell's life. Look at him slalom through defenders.
And these are the moments that Red Bull 2 can really take advantage of. I mean, Mitchell goes through 2, 3, 4 Pittsburgh defenders and almost creates his own goal.
Unreal. He's committed to Wake Forest, and we'll see if he actually gets to Wake Forest. They've got a great coaching staff down there. It's right for most, but Mitchell might be working his way into a homegrown deal. There's the cross. Bouncing down and cleared away. Wonderful crowd tonight. The Steel Army out in force. On what's a not too sunny evening in Pittsburgh. This is good soccer playing, soccer watching weather. Tomball.
And that moment there by Mitchell, it really stands to Bob Lilly's comment earlier this week when he was speaking to both of us. It was defensively his team having to push lines, having to push those lines forward and up, because the deeper and deeper Mitchell receives that ball, I mean, he can do special things like that where he engages 1v1 and then he's got to go after the next defender. So as you can get those lines higher and higher up the field, then, you know, Mitchell has to do that further, you know, midfield, the attacking half, not so deep into the 18-yard box.
Adelman. A pull back there by Raffanello is pushed off by Forbes. Appeared to be advantage played, and ultimately that had run its course. Skittering forward Castillo, and LaCava sends this up into the suites. The Riverhounds have added premium suites for 2021, exclusive and private suites with premium menu options. Check out the balcony that overlooks all the action and a majestic view of the Pittsburgh skyline. You can visit riverhounds.com or call the box office at 412-865-GOAL. Right above the team shop over there. I've had a chance to soak in the atmosphere from that locale before. Hard to beat that view. Softly to Castillo. Tomball for Red Bulls. Is it your birthday, Eric?
Not that I know of.
Okay. We've got questions for the Steel Army.
But that was tremendously done there.
Yeah. Remarkably in tune for what might well be a pretty imbibed supporters section away from La Cava. Mitchell, free kick, New York. And you have to give Mitchell a lot of credit. He throws his body around like a rag doll. Not only that effort, but also his previous entry into the box.
Really active on and off the ball, as you mentioned. Throwing his body into tackles and really trying to get something started for his team. Again, you go back to that result against Charlotte. This is a resilient team that, you take the result against Hartford, the 7-0, and then you beat one of the tougher teams in the Atlantic right now, 3-1.
Raffanello took the last free kick. Mandela Egbo is there too, but it will be Raffanello. Look at this from Vitiello. Elastic arms to reach up into the corner and push that away.
Tremendously taken free kick there by Raffanello, but followed up by an even better save here. Just curling it there into that upper left corner. And I was mentioning how Vitiello has been big for his team already 25 minutes in. And that just adds another moment.
Corner, New York, and Vitiello bobbles, ball's loose, and squirts into the net. And now New York's got a goal. New York equalizes here in Pittsburgh in the 26th minute. And denied a moment ago, not to be denied again.
My goodness, as I'm praising Vitiello, he gets up, no real pressure on him. Raffanello just there, and it looks like it took a deflection off a Pittsburgh player there. Raffanello getting the initial touch after the drop by Vitiello, and looks like one of the Pittsburgh players knocked it in. But you have to hold on to that. No pressure on the goalkeeper, and just spills it.
Well, hence the delay in waiting to figure out who's going to get credit for it. Surely Opta is going to take a good long look at that. Raffanello is going to be happy for the goal if he can keep it.
Yeah, and you can even see the confusion by Raffanello. He was turning to his teammates. He's like, do I claim it? And I think that's a moment where you're just like, absolutely. I think just very unfortunate for Pittsburgh. I mean, tremendous save on the set piece by Raffanello, and then again, really just not much danger from the set piece from the corner there, but credit to New York Red Bulls too for being there, opportunistic, really forcing the issue and finding the equalizer here in the first half.
And Bob Lilly told us in looking at the Atlantic Division that truth will ultimately bear itself out. You're going to play each team in the division 4 times. That said, he said Loudoun and New York, who are both on the docket here in this very busy stretch, are a handful. And to expect all 3 points, New York won 5 games last year. 3 against Philadelphia, 1 against Loudoun, and 1 against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he was very adamant about the tough road ahead. Home here against Red Bulls 2, and then on the road at Loudoun. Loudoun team that's fallen in some tough results. In the 96th minute against Hartford the other night, after almost an hour rain delay. And then really pushed Tampa Bay Rowdies to the brink at Al Lang, losing that matchup 2-1. So they do indeed have their work cut out. And again, even before the goal for Pittsburgh, New York had really found a lot of success, as you said, with those dissecting passes to Mitchell to feet. And that space that Pittsburgh's allowing them to play in right in front of that back line, that's going to be something that they're going to want to address at halftime. And it's just about that first ball press, making sure plays predictable.
That goal, by the way, has indeed seen a scoring change. Shane Wheat will pick up an own goal in the 26th minute. Not that that man cares a lick. John Wallenick has to be pleased with the chaotic moment that spurred the Red Bull goal on the set piece. No matter the outcome, it is 1-1. Pittsburgh scoring in the 14th minute. Todd Wharton from Kenardo Forbes. And then the Wheat own goal off a bobbled caught corner by Vitiello, the Pittsburgh goalkeeper, opening the door for Red Bulls to respond as we hit the half-hour mark in Pittsburgh. Harsh slide in, Dequa goes down, and that's a clean challenge. Believe that was Knapp who went in there harshly, won the ball, and now spurs New York forward. Forbes. Look at all this space into the wide area. A touch from Zielinski. This will run out. The Riverhounds are back in action at Highmark Stadium Saturday, July 3rd, 7 p.m. against the Charlotte Independents, the annual holiday weekend match. You can visit riverhounds.com or call the box office 412-865-GOAL. We'll revisit that in a moment. Wharton curls across. Wharton again thought he got clipped from behind. Castillo rolling ahead to LaCava. And a good job by Wheat to stamp that out. Believe it was Jorge Herrera for Charlotte. Gosh, must have been 3 years ago on the 4th of July, who scored an Olympico at this stadium. So there have been some on and off field fireworks that have come with playing on 4th of July weekend. Look at this, seeking ball ahead. Recovered by Lewis. Cicerone looking for that 6th goal.
Oh, and Cicerone's going to want that ball back because he's been playing in such
Vitiello has to come off his line.
Yep. Such good spaces, and just a rare poor first touch by Cicerone.
Turn here, Mitchell, and he roundhouse kicks that over toward Vitiello. This game has gotten all kinds of stretched.
It has. I mean, between Kenardo Forbes being able to just clip balls in behind and find a really good run by Cicerone. I mean, and then, but you see the same thing from Red Bulls too as well, just having the time and the space. Now, a lot of Pittsburgh's opportunities are coming off of turnovers, transition, counterattacks, which is really the name of the game for Pittsburgh, and they really executed well against Tampa Bay as well.
Raffanello, nearly. And that's ushered back by Peters. I mean, think about the last time these teams played. It finished 3-0 Pittsburgh, but if you listen to the coaching staffs talk about it, you get the feeling that each team had 10 good chances, and Pittsburgh scored 3 of theirs, and New York didn't.
Yep, and that's what Bob Lilly said, is each team had 2 really good chances, and we finished 3 of ours. I mean, it's a team that creates a number of chances. I mean, throughout this season already, in 2021, New York has had 81 shots in total, 34 on goal. Pittsburgh, 67 shots total, 28 on goal. So the opportunities are there for New York Red Bulls.
Forbes seeking Dequa.
And really, you know, it's just about converting and being clinical in those moments, whether it's the final pass or that final moment in front of goal for Red Bulls too.
Forbes using that third eye right now to find some of these passes. He is incepting the New York defense. LaCava ripped down by the collar Perhaps the nameplate by Forbes. Forbes will just get a talking to here from the referee, and bygones are bygones. This will be Edelman. What an odd skip it took to get to Mitchell. Ahead to So! Vitiello gives that a jump. So is arguing that that should have been a penalty, but it escapes out for a goal kick.
I mean, just in that sequence, you can see how spread Pittsburgh is getting, and really, Bob Lilly's not going to be pleased with the overall defending, because you see Dequa go press, and then everybody else just sits behind and really invites that next ball and that next layer to be played into. And New York really executing all the ideas on and off the ball. And you've got to be worried if they can find a second one here before halftime.
I've been really impressed by especially the front three, but there's a certain synchronicity that we've seen so far, particularly between Mitchell and So. Castillo finding LaCava. The return, LaCava eventually takes over for New York. Sliced ahead by Edelman. Raffanello, that'll roll all the way toward the penalty spot and gets blasted out.
And I agree with you completely, because it just feels like the rhythm and the tempo in which those players are playing at right now. I mean, it's not taking a lot of patience on the ball for those runs to develop. They really know where each other are going, how to run off the ball and trigger the runs. I mean, it has been really good pace by New York.
That's Knapp catching Dixon. Bit of a skid out there by Dixon. Was recovered here by Forbes. It's just, if you told me this is a 2-win team, I'd really struggle to believe it about New York.
Yeah, and we could talk about how incredibly deep the USL is in terms of how competitive the team and the divisions are. And really, for this New York team, you're absolutely right. It's just they've got all the pieces, and they've got they're really dynamic, really fluid movement going forward, really good ideas. Maybe the execution is kind of missed here and there within matches, but just really positive.
The confidence they're playing with right now is infectious. Let's come out to Rivera.
It is. It's more like they're playing on the front foot, and Pittsburgh is reacting to every ball played into space, and they're playing from behind almost. It's just
Castillo, why not?
They have Pittsburgh playing on their heels right now, and they're really unbalanced. They don't know, Pittsburgh is getting a little frustrated with who's pressing, when they're pressing, and what gaps in space they need to cover. And you go back to that front line and their ability to work off each other. It's really been throwing Pittsburgh off, and as you mentioned, the movement's just been so positive and really confident.
New York's got the luxury of a bit of time off since that 3-1 win against Charlotte that seemed to re-announce their presence in the Atlantic Division. Pittsburgh is in the midst of what can only be described as schedule congestion, fixture congestion, a lot of it. That ball was still moving, so they'll bring it back after the New York foul. I just saw a stat today that New York Red Bulls on the MLS side have just overtaken, I believe it's LAFC, for the most most instances of pressure upon receipt of the ball in MLS, which isn't uncommon at all. But it is a stern reminder, they aren't good at this. They're the best at this for a reason. Griffin will come up short of the river.
Yeah, and those moments where you high press, they could either go extremely right or terribly wrong, because if you don't have everybody on the same page in each one of those sequences on certain portions of the field, you know, it just leaves teams, especially teams like Pittsburgh, where they can break big lines of pressure really quickly and find that open player, just like finding Wharton here on that right side.
Wharton got a second look to flick that ahead, chested back by Dequa. Cicerone tried to push that toward goal.
So that pressure could be either really positive for a team or negative, but obviously Red Bulls too and this organization have really stood by that philosophy and that idea, and boy are they executing it.
Griffin. Forbes. Griffin. Slide in there by Castillo. Griffin kept and crossed. Still room here on the backside. Set up for Forbes. Forbes chipping forward, headed down. Dequa! Couldn't have drawn it up any cleaner than that. Pittsburgh retakes the lead in the 41st minute.
What fantastic build-up. Commitment from Griffin, gets tackled, gets up really quickly. And even on that moment, numbers are still accumulating, still going forward. And the awareness here by Cicerone to play this ball across to Dequa, not necessarily try to put it on frame for himself. What a response by Pittsburgh.
First of the year for Albert Dequa. Second assist of the season for Russell Cicerone. And the yellow smoke returns to the fore. All-time 7 wins, 7 losses, 1 draw for each team in this series. Referee waits, it'll bring this back. That's something that came up in Copa America. What is a promising attack? The laws of the game are shockingly subjective.
And that opportunity by Pittsburgh going to the goal, I mean, it just goes back to that commitment to numbers in the 18-yard box in that final third. I mean, you find that big break to Wharton out wide to the right side, and again, we were talking about pressure and high pressing. That's a moment where you have your entire team shifted over to the right side, taking away Pittsburgh's left side, and Wharton's able to find that space going forward, and it allows runs to develop, players to get forward.
Dequa has been around the block a few times in this league. Came out of Mount Verde Academy in Florida, where it was 157 matches unbeaten back in high school, and has made his way through Orlando, St. Louis, Ottawa, and was very much sought after by Bob Lilly last year, but was dealing with some visa issues early in the season, getting in from Cameroon. Finally did arrive and began to make a bit of a name for himself. Bags his first goal here, and he can score in bunches when it gets going. Dequa. Corner Pittsburgh. And that corner will be taken with a Select ball. Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the elite leagues throughout Europe. For the latest Select products, special offers, visit selectsportamerica.com. Is this number 28 for Kenardo Forbes in a Pittsburgh kit? If it is, he'll be atop the mountain. Forbes, there's the header. It was an open header at that from Wheat. this is one of those USL Championship matches where you're just, honest to God, impressed by the caliber of offensive play on both sides.
It is, and both doing it in different phases of the game and different aspects. You know, I think New York has been probably the more patient of the team in build-up. You know, really getting on the ball and being dynamic in the movement, and Pittsburgh has been really about breaking lines of pressure quicker, being positive going forward. And for John Wolyniec and his side and his New York Red Bulls 2 side, it's really just those second chance opportunities. Yes, I continue to harp on the commitment to numbers forward for Pittsburgh, but both of those goals come off second chance opportunities where you have numbers behind the ball. You have, you know, even though Pittsburgh has numbers in the 18-yard box, New York does as well. And to give up 2 goals on second chance opportunities, it builds frustration.
Zielinski is going to feel hard done by that, but I'm not sure anything less than a yellow makes sense. 2 additional minutes here at the end of the first half. So Zielinski goes into the book for bringing down Dixon, who looked like he had a step. Coming up at halftime, we'll take a look at news and notes from around the championship. First half highlights, of which there were many and more.
Somebody that's going to be very relieved by that second goal is Vitiello. Really unfortunate mistake there on the corner kick earlier, and his team able to pick up a second goal, put themselves back in the driver's seat.
And could there be any more pressure on a goalkeeper than in Pittsburgh, where Bob Lilly has often gone to a rotational situation? That's not to knock any of the goalkeepers, many of whom have gone on to have outstanding careers as number ones, nor does it say if there's a hot hand that he won't stick with it. But Jake Leaker is a very experienced guy who's sitting on the bench right now waiting for his next chance.
Yeah, and as much as we harped on, you know, the good moments he had in the breakaway save against Mitchell and then the set piece save against Raffanello, I mean, you make game-changing mistakes like that drop on the corner kick.
Only the 9th goal conceded this year with him in net in his 8th game. So goes down. Referee had a look and instead blows for halftime. 2-1 Pittsburgh here at the break.
Really good responses by both teams, because Pittsburgh goes up 1-0 early. New York Red Bulls 2 bounces back, and then the response by Pittsburgh to really commit and be urgent going forward.
All 3 goals come off of Pittsburgh boots. Wheat, the own goal that leveled this thing. Wharton scored first. Dequa scored in the 41st to give Pittsburgh an advantage for the second time tonight. The physicality of these teams certainly not in question, neither the scoring opportunities. Plenty coming up here at halftime.
The summer is heating up, and so are the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. On Saturday, July 3rd, the Charlotte Independents are back at Highmark Stadium for a 7 p.m. kickoff. On Saturday, July 17th, the Hounds square off against Loudoun United FC for another Saturday night showdown. Group and individual tickets on sale now. Visit riverhounds.com or talk to a ticket representative at 412-865-GOAL. Pleasant Valley Golf Club, nestled in the Laurel Highlands of southwestern Pennsylvania, is now open to the public. Enjoy 18 holes of championship golf with a new island green and fully stocked pro shop. Our clubhouse features a large ballroom for weddings or private parties, 2 restaurants serving delicious food, a sports bar, 2 state-of-the-art golf simulators, and an outdoor patio with gas fire pit and picturesque view. Pleasant Valley Golf Club, now open to the public. Just in time for the start of the 2021 season, we're offering Riverhounds Mini Flex Plans. Flex Plans are 6 vouchers to use any way you want over the 2021 season to catch the Hounds in action. Use them all for one game or spread them out through the season. With 3 different plans starting at $90, you can choose anywhere in Highmark Stadium to cheer on the Hounds. Visit riverhounds.com or call 412-865-GOAL.
Welcome back to Pittsburgh. Lights are on. Beautiful day overhead, 80 degrees. Couldn't ask for better here in late June. Mike Watts, Eric Dobransky, 2-1 Pittsburgh over New York. And there's so much more action coming up over the next few weeks. We thought we'd walk you through the upcoming schedules. That's a lot of games between now and July 7th.
It is, but a game like tonight, and then you go at Loudoun, possibility of picking up, points there 2 games before that matchup against Charlotte Independence, which could be, really vital towards those Atlantic Division because Charlotte has Miami tomorrow. So, again, points out there for Pittsburgh, but you're absolutely right. A lot of games in a short amount of time.
Pittsburgh is 3-2-2 in the Atlantic Division. If they somehow swept them all 7-2-2, looks a lot different. Here's the upcoming schedule for New York Red Bulls 2. They will host the Miami FC on July the 2nd, and then go away to Charlotte, away to Hartford. That may be the witching hour for New York.
And you mentioned it earlier, falling really far behind early here in the season, especially in Atlantic Division that has really seen Tampa Bay take first, and then Pittsburgh really growing into this division. It's going to be tough if Red Bulls goes to Miami, drops points. Charlotte, they have a tough stretch of games here coming up.
And around the USL Championship, it is a busy weekend. All these matches available on The Plus, ESPN Plus. The Louisville-Indianapolis Proximity Association football contest is at Lynn Family Stadium at 7:30 tomorrow. In the Atlantic, Charleston and Loudoun, Hartford and Tampa Bay, Miami and Charlotte. So all 8 teams playing in the division.
And for a team that, in Pittsburgh, if they can get a result tonight or New York get a result tonight, now you sit back and you watch those games unfold and see how this Atlantic Division really can kind of come together.
Just let them beat each other up and we'll get after it later in the week. All those games on ESPN Plus. We are far from done here in Pittsburgh as you get a live look at the Paul Child stand. We've got first half highlights and so much more when we come back.
I wasn't going to let anything get in my way of achieving my goals, which were to be a professional soccer player. So the first opportunity I got at preseason, when a teammate asked if I was dating a girl or something, I just came out to a bunch of my teammates at dinner and said, no, I'm gay. All I needed to do was that one time, because then I didn't lie. Your sexuality should never limit you from playing the sport you love.
Brings it down to his chest. Jordan McCreary has tied it here. Takes a hard strike, saved by Romovic.
Just in time for the start of the 2021 season, we're offering Riverhounds Mini Flex Plans. Flex Plans are 6 vouchers to use any way you want over the 2021 season to catch the Hounds in action. Use them all for one game or spread them out through the season. With 3 different plans starting at $90, you can choose anywhere in Highmark Stadium to cheer on the Hounds. Visit riverhounds.com or call 412-865-GOAL.
Before you weren't able to walk very far.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. I couldn't even get out of bed sometimes.
How are you walking now?
I'm walking 6 miles a day.
Awesome.
Getting control back is living proof. The AHN Neuroscience Institute.
The summer is heating up, and so are the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. On Saturday, July 3rd, the Charlotte Independents are back at Highmark Stadium for a 7 p.m. kickoff. On Saturday, July 17th, the Hounds square off against Loudoun United FC for another Saturday night showdown. Group and individual tickets on sale now. Visit riverhounds.com or talk to a ticket representative at 412-865-GOAL.
A look across the river, and what a first half we've had here. Pittsburgh 2, New York 1 with Eric Dobransky, Mike Watts. Let's take a look around the USL Championship and get you caught up on all the news you missed. El Paso is still unbeaten. It's been that way since August 2020. They've lost in penalties, but that's the only way to knock them off, and you only get there in the playoffs. Everyone can agree, I'm sure, Eric, Cameron Lancaster was the player of the week.
I think there's a couple people in San Diego that would disagree after the performance by Jack Blake and the 2 goals against their rival in Phoenix Rising.
Cameron Lancaster, a penalty and an Olympico, has yet to score in the run of play this year, but 5 goals for Louisville. And then we've got Independence Day weekend. There's a game between Charlotte and Pittsburgh here, but make sure you tune in 7 Eastern time on ESPN2. San Diego, Landon Donovan's side taking on Sacramento Republic. Warren Smith, who helps run the program down in San Diego, helped found Sacramento, so all kinds of things there. Here's the team of the week presented by Clear Audio.
And as we mentioned, Jack Blake, 2 long-range goals at home against Phoenix Rising. And what a game by Haji Berry versus Tacoma. Goal, 3 assists. And then we highlighted in the open, Jeremy Raffanello, his first career brace, really getting New York Red Bulls back on track after that result against Hartford.
Mark Segbers is listed as a defender. He's there because he filled in goal. We'll get to that later, I'm sure. Power rankings. Here's the top 10. El Paso holds on to the number 1 spot. But, hey, look out below. Louisville making a 6-spot jump. New Mexico is up to 3rd. Phoenix loses to San Diego. They're in 4th. And Pittsburgh leaping up the table.
3 of the top 7 teams reside in the Atlantic Division. And really, for Pittsburgh, I mean, that road spell against Indy 11 and Tampa Bay Rowdies really catapulted them into that top 5 as well.
Those are just power rankings. These are real, honest standings. Remember the Atlantic Division? Here you go.
There they are. And there's such important games coming up. And I don't want to – it's early on in the season, but – we talked about Charleston Battery early. They really need to start getting into a rhythm and find a little bit of consistency in the results. Miami FC, same thing. Really an up and down season thus far. And then this New York Red Bulls 2 team still needs to try to see if 45 minutes is enough to find a result here against Pittsburgh.
All right, there's the Atlantic Division, and this is an Atlantic Division kind of weekend. This clash between New York and Pittsburgh continues after these messages.
All right, Johnny, Gus has a very tricky putt for birdie.
No doubt about it, Jim. It's clear he wants to finish strong.
You got this.
There's the signature hip shimmy. Oh, wait, this is something new.
It's the new $1,000 dreaming from the PA lottery.
With top prizes of $500,000.
Woohoo!
What a putt! You can't make this stuff up. This is your best round yet, Gus.
Let's tee it up to luck. Keep on scratching.
The summer is heating up, and so are the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. On Saturday, July 3rd, the Charlotte Independents are back at Highmark Stadium for a 7 p.m. kickoff. On Saturday, July 17th, the Hounds square off against Loudoun United FC for another Saturday night showdown. Group and individual tickets on sale now. Visit riverhounds.com or talk to a ticket representative at 412-865-GOAL.
Before you weren't able to walk very far.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. I couldn't even get out of bed sometimes.
How are you walking now?
I'm walking 6 miles a day.
Awesome.
Getting control back is living proof. The AHN Neuroscience Institute.
Summer is almost here, and so are the Riverhounds Academy Summer Technical Clinics. We have 3 sessions which are geared to players interested in developing technical skills in multiple areas over the course of the week. Clinics are led by Riverhounds Development Academy trainers and current professional Riverhounds players. Clinics start July 5th. Open to players 7 to 14 years old. Register online or contact the Academy office at 412-325-7238.
We've had 3 goals in Pittsburgh, and they were all so good we thought we'd show them to you again as we round the corner toward the second half here on ESPN+. Pittsburgh and New York, 2-1 Riverhounds at the break. We begin, Eric, in the 8th minute of play. We saw multiple passes just like this from New York. Vitiello up to the task.
New York coming out, playing on the front foot, playing really energetic, and there Vitiello coming up big, and he has throughout this first half, and as we see, just a mistake there on the first goal by New York, but Pittsburgh has really been able to find a lot of seams and be dangerous there in the attack, getting numbers forward, patience here, letting Todd Wharton's run develop, and then Kenardo Forbes playing that fantastic ball across that 18-yard box just to top of that PK spot, and Todd Wharton makes no doubt about it, finding the back of the net and putting his team up 1-0.
Wharton's first goal since October of 2019. Skip ahead to the 26th minute. Raffanello, maybe off target. Vitiello makes sure it ends off target.
And for all of the positive play that Vitiello had up until this moment, making a really good save against Raffanello and the save against Mitchell, here is the mistake. And no pressure on him. No Red Bulls 2 players really, putting a body on him, and he just drops the ball. And unfortunately, Raffanello gets a touch on it, but it comes off Wheat for Pittsburgh.
We're at 1-1, ahead to the 41st minute. Forbes chipping this forward. Brilliant. Cicerone down. Dequa delivers.
And again, for New York, it's these second chance opportunities that Pittsburgh's finding themselves in the 18-yard box and in the final third. And you could see Dequa being right there at the right time. And Cicerone, fantastic idea to flick that ball back across the face of goal for Dequa to finish. And then here, no surprise. I think Red Bulls 2 has seen a lot of the ball. They've been very patient in the build-up. And as we've mentioned throughout the first half, it's a team in New York Red Bulls 2 that creates chances. Now they really just need to be more effective and clinical in front of goal.
So Kenardo Forbes ties the Riverhounds all-time record for assists. This is an organization now old enough that there is indeed a player on the roster born after the club was founded. You could say there's 2 now, Thomas Williamson, but also Wyatt Borso is on the bench for the first time, the 17-year-old forward from Illinois. Could he feature in this second half? Dequa will look to add to his goal-scoring tally. Opened his account in 2021 here tonight. Referee blows to begin the second half, and we are underway between Pittsburgh and New York. Riverhounds a 2-1 advantage. The Wheat own goal, bookended by goals by Dequa and Wharton for the Riverhounds. Cicerone. Cicerone running in. Was well aware that that was going to be a corner anyways. Likes his odds better this way.
Really earning an early corner kick here. And for Bob Lilly, there's just no question at halftime that he's going to want to have really cleaned up defensively in terms of just tightening the lines, really making sure that that first ball press is a little quicker and a little bit more intentional.
That's not the answer. Just struck that all wrong. It's funny, it's such a gorgeous night to come out to a game, but sometimes, like Wrigleyville, you can steal a seat for a brief amount of time on a boat, and that boat is pumping some oddly inviting music.
First, the happy birthday song in the first half, and then now we get this. I mean, I guess they're pulling out all the stops to get their first win at home tonight.
Awesome. Look at that clipper go.
Just a typical Friday night in Pittsburgh.
And look, this is a much better way to spend your night than watching the Islanders play hockey. So this will roll all the way outside for Zielinski, who got cleaned out. Harsh tackle by Peters. Zielinski was shown a yellow for pulling down Dixon earlier and gave a brief look to the AR as if to say, then what was this?
And for both teams, I don't think it should be a surprise. I mean, that one's clearly the ball was away. But really, the first half was allowed to play on. Again, that was really one of the more extreme cases of ball getting away and still a late challenge. But, you know, I think there was a number of moments in that first half that each team saw themselves kind of looking around, waiting for a referee's whistle. As we get one here.
New York enters 7th in the 8-team Atlantic Division. Pittsburgh in 3rd. This is caught here by Vitiello. Top 4 will go to the postseason. And if it seems like we're talking about the playoffs a lot, the number of 6-point games, so to speak, that occurred certainly last year in even smaller groups, but continues this year where you play each team in your group 4 times. That's 28 of your league games. These individual results add up very quickly. A throw to come for Williams, the Trinidad and Tobago full international, and instead he'll cede to Todd Wharton. Wharton time in Portland and Rio Grande Valley before coming to St. Louis last year. Couple of players that were part of the bones that were left over from St. Louis after they left the league in 2021 have made their way into Pittsburgh and found their way. Rolled out by LaCava. Castillo driving forward. This is knotted away. Recovered by Zielinski. Came up short of Knapp. Egbo.
And I'm going to preface this next stat with the full understanding that each game has a life of its own and moments.
This will bounce down the middle of the penalty area toward Raffanello. All right, that's a good preface.
and have defining moments that determine results. But you know, for Pittsburgh this season, they're 4-0-2 in scoring first, which they have tonight. And the only reason I bring that up is because obviously it's a Pittsburgh team that seems to be comfortable playing with the lead. You know, and obviously as coaches and as players, you know, you'll run through moments through the season where you're going to need to get results when you're not playing well. And this is a Pittsburgh team that is playing with a lot of momentum and, you know, is really coming home and expecting to get a result and play well here in front of their fans. And I think scoring first had to be one of those aspects that Bob Lilly and his side wanted tonight, was to get on the board. You know, obviously the own goal that equalized it to make it 1-1, but now with the 2-1 lead, you've got to believe that at halftime they discussed a number of defensive items and shifting and pressing that he's hoping to maybe, you know, really execute in the second half. But, you know, again, being undefeated in 2021 when scoring first, I mean, it just speaks to how comfortable this team is.
Referee did an excellent job stepping away from that, and ultimately he'll bring this back here as Edelman got tugged. And that's sort of a defining characteristic of Pittsburgh in years past. It's something where Bob Lilly doesn't really appreciate the idea that his team is solely called defensive. Ball lifted forward by LaCava, and LaCava will get a second look at that and fire it into the stands. But ultimately, once they have a lead, they're very pragmatic. And at the end of the day, isn't the goal to win?
Yeah, and I think a part of that, you know, when you play with a lead, I think just naturally falling behind the ball and getting numbers behind the ball is something. But I think the one thing that maybe Bob Lilly does really well, you know, whether it's in training or throughout the matches, is his ability for his players to fully understand and recognize their role, whether it's in transition moments when you lose the ball, win the ball, but mainly talking about the defensive side, so losing possession, and then, you know, when defending, you know, in the run of play as well. And again, I just think, you know, it is a team that really builds off their defensive shape. And, you know, coaches always tell you your best attacking ability is good defensive shape. And, you know, even in the call, he committed to this attacking premise where he really wanted to be urgent. He really wanted to commit. He wanted to be dynamic going forward.
Ball laced across. First effort. Lewis got it away, and now he recovers. Is that Wheat making that all the way forward, perhaps? It's come all the way down and nodded softly by Forbes. How in the world did Lewis get a second opportunity to keep that out?
And just like Vitiello in the first half, Lewis coming up big for his team, because going down 3-1 would not have been a positive result. It just falls right in front of him, and unfortunately no Pittsburgh players there to.
Dixon for Cicerone. Watch out. Ball across. Strong from Egbo. Knotted over by Griffin. Cicerone leads this wide. Wharton curling. Still more here for Pittsburgh. Header away. Came toward Forbes. Stabbed wide Rivera. Rivera crossing. And again away. Edelman steps over. Kept by Cicerone, who drives wide. Shadowed by Castillo, and now Edelman. It was Williams who got the first shot away, and then the follow by Wheat. All the while, Raffanello gets this wide, and Vitiello has to dive as Mitchell was making a run to the opposite end. His hands went straight to his head, and so watches this ricochet out with a ton of spin. Corner, New York.
Really good counterattack there by New York Red Bulls too. Just recognizing the numbers that Pittsburgh has committed there. And when you see those kind of numbers forward, you know one ball is going to really break the attack and spread Pittsburgh out, and here earning yourself an early corner kick.
And there's the delivery. It's away. Knapp, this ricochets back nearly on target. And Knapp here has paid a bit of a price. Raffanello's saying not that big a price. I don't think we need closed captioning to figure this out, but
It's not as dangerous as a corner as it was in the first half. And Knapp
still has all his future options available to him at age 21. Montclair State, he was the midfielder of the year there. Montclair State is where Red Bull 2 plays their home games. Native of Bloomfield in New Jersey. He was ready to go. Now he's returned. Well, about a sprinter stance. 57th minute, Pittsburgh 2, New York 1. Wheat and own goal. But a tad unlucky. It was a drop ball by Vitiello on a corner that put Pittsburgh at odds Riverhounds have scored twice, bookending that goal. Dequa in the 41st, Wharton in the 14th. A bit of a palindrome scoring description.
Again, that counterattack by New York has just got to be something that Bob Lilly is not pleased to see in terms of how open his team is and how vulnerable they are on that counter.
So what do you do if you are Bob Lilly to try and stem that off?
I mean, midfielders have to understand their role in that transition, because not only in that last opportunity for Pittsburgh, you've got to slow the ball down and not speed it up. So really getting behind the ball and defending it the right way, and not just trying to win it and go right back to attacking. Got to slow it down, let numbers get back behind the ball, and that's what Pittsburgh is lacking here. It's just that recognition of where to force. You know, they're forcing into numbers for New York, so that you're playing them into exactly where they want to play into, and providing the ability to build numbers and overloads.
Shane Wheat just picked up a yellow card. That's his 3rd of the year. This is 10th game, 9th start. Wheat from Northeast Ohio and Akron. And for Loudon last year. Edelman sends this into the penalty area. There was an appeal there for a handball, but it was half-hearted at best. Scooped up here by John Walnick, who is often felt like the perfect figurehead for this Red Bull 2 side. This will be a corner here for New York. USL Coach of the Year on each touchline, trying to jerry-rig, in Pittsburgh's case, a 3rd. In New York's case, an equalizer. Wasn't there for Edelman, and look at all this space. Clipped forward by Rivera. Well, apparently did get out.
Really still is a wide open match like it was in the first half. Really both teams sticking to their philosophy and their game plan and their game model.
Perhaps trouble here. Dequa's picked a pocket, lays this off. And goodness me, how did he not finish that? Cicerone, who's been lights out, frustrated to say the least.
And this is going to be the second opportunity of this match that Cicerone is going to want it back, because there was a wonderfully played ball by Forbes in that first half that he just had a missed touch in the first touch, and then there, I mean, the awareness that Dequa has to find him and almost return the favor from that first half goal for Dequa. And Cicerone, who's really playing with the hot hand, sailing that over the bar.
End of the day here for Mitchell, who had plenty of bark and bite in that first half. Second half, New York did a bit of a better job slowing him down. He was a major focal point in the scouting report, and you could see early why that was the case.
Yeah, the pace and the power in which Mitchell plays at, I mean, really caused Pittsburgh problems in that first half.
Forbes with time and space, a nightmare personified, and that deflected over to Zielinski. Starts up the other way, but it was short-armed. Edelman sends forward a bomb. Ngoma gives chase.
And that sequence before that long ball played over the top was exactly the sequence that Pittsburgh needs more often and consistently, is that once you lose possession, the pressure, but pressuring with a purpose in regards to where you want them to play into and forcing the turnover there.
LaCava Serge Ngoma, by the way, is a 15-year-old forward from New Jersey, 81 in red. Will pair up with So up front in Mitchell's absence. What were you doing at 15 years old?
Not being this productive in my career.
He's over at New Jersey Elite. As this is rolled forward and will run out over the line. And came to the Red Bull Academy. His youth team played against New York, bagged 3 goals in a 4-3 win, and New York asked him to train that day with the team. Went to the ICC Futures Tournament, played in the GA Cup. He's just continued to pile up the resume. Again, at 15, I'm not sure I was qualified to work at the local pool.
You see that opportunity throughout the league here, and you see it with Jonathan Gomez at Lou City. We talk about players at Loudoun. The opportunity to compete at this level and be dangerous and really provide something at a high level for this organization.
Caden Clark is the latest example. But you can say Aaron Long redefined his career with Red Bull 2, moving to center back. Tyler Adams started his career in this group, but also, Derek Etienne, Ryan Mara, guys who went on to make either significant contributions to Red Bull or elsewhere. And I look at this roster right now. LaCava, So, Raffanello's a guy who's trying to find himself again. Egbo comes in from London at 23. It's such a hodgepodge of players at different places in their development, but still developing nonetheless.
And they do, and we discussed that identity earlier in that first half, and this is an organization and a team in the USL Championship that has that identity and that purpose within that development. And, you just give the organization a lot of credit, and then obviously the players within that, because it's on them to take advantage of the opportunity and continue to grow and really see those moments and recognize the areas in which they can grow, they can strengthen their game. But it really does come down to that identity and what you want to build from an organizational standpoint, and what a tremendous job.
Free kick, New York. Egbo played 4 years for Gladbach 2. Juan Castillo is playing in the under-20 Copa Libertadores. Mir Tombol came over from a solid stint overseas. The Turkish player played in Switzerland and in Portugal. Intriguing group, to say the least. Set piece here for New York. A lofted ball, and off his line, Vitiello strongly punches. And this clipped into open space. And this could be a one-man band. Dequa.
Vitiello dealing with this set piece really well, punching it, and this really putting spark into that counterattack right there. Really dealt with well by New York's back line there.
Thrown forward, ricocheted around. Dequa tried to turn on it, So plays it forward, flicked on, and Ngoma. Has he got Wheat beat? He goes down. He is barking back, and you can understand why he's frustrated. John Wallenick is now yelling to the fourth official, saying that has to be denial of an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, but Ngoma was not in a perfect position to run that ball down, it seemed. Cicerone pushed down.
And it was quite a clever touch, Ngoma. And it really, mean, it looks like you just get over the top of Ngoma and dragged him down a little bit there, playing on a yellow already.
For you?
I mean, it looked like Ngoma had, you know, the space in front of him, and that touch was clever enough to fool Wheat. That's it.
To me, that looks like at least a yellow.
It does, and again, do you have it in your mind that he's playing with a yellow? I mean, that shouldn't matter. It's just,
but it does. It shouldn't, but it seemingly does.
Yeah, because if you call that, it's got to be a yellow.
Corner here, Pittsburgh.
And that's John Wolinek's argument is, you know, you bring that ball back and call that foul on Wheat, it's got to be a card. And now, you know, Pittsburgh would be playing with 10 players then. And again, with as dynamic as New York has been going forward, could really change the game.
Jelani Peters just returned from a red card suspension. Driven ball forward. And again, Vidiello leaping through, and he is clearly hobbled.
And the referee clearly letting play go on both sides. I mean, not that gives the play with Wheat an excuse, but here you could see Vidiello really getting hit here after playing the ball away. And
Vidiello has put his body on the line a couple of times. He has certainly made a big Pittsburgh mistake today, but you could argue he's been forced to come out and try and bail the team a couple of times.
And when you have to deal with the pace that New York has up top and throughout the midfield, and now you insert Ngoma into that, you know, up front, you've got to be active as a goalkeeper. You've got to be quick off your line, and you've really got to be secure with your decision. And he has throughout the night. And again, the one mistake he had was dropping that corner kick. You know, unfortunately, there was just no pressure around him on that corner kick. And then here, just committed and confident off his line to play it out before Ngoma got onto it.
Well, you see there that Preston Kilwine is waiting to come in. It was unclear whether he was going to play in this game, but one would think with Wheat tiptoeing around a second yellow, perhaps that could be a change in Pittsburgh's near future. You see the beautiful sunset over the river. Vidiello appears prepared to continue. Leaker had gotten up and was moving about on the bench. His time will not come yet. 70th minute, 2-1 Pittsburgh. Another goal here for the Riverhounds would really change the arithmetic. You'd hardly say it's the final nail in the coffin, but it would certainly change the attitude right now. Ball rolled ahead, pushed away from Dequa. Griffin. Cicerone, short of Forbes. LaCava. Central touch, not there for Ngoma.
And again, you could see the intent for Pittsburgh on the ball, getting Rivera forward and Wharton forward and really providing that width from that left and right side. But it is just leaving that back line of Williams, Peters, and Wheat so exposed. And you brought it up, Wheat's playing, you know, we've talked about it, Wheat's playing on the yellow card. You know, is it a possibility that they bring him off just, you know, to be careful for him having to deal with the pace and the athleticism and the power that they have up top for New York? And
well, here come the changes. Austin Brummett will certainly come on here for New York. Riverhounds are going to make two changes. Anthony Velarde comes in, will replace Alex Dixon. And then Kilwine's going to come on for Cicerone. Now, Kilwine's played a little bit of left back this year. They actually played really well against Kairu Mustafa of Loudoun, who's got that same electric sort of feel every time he starts a run toward the final third. Brummett will replace Raffanello. So that's the second change for New York. And then Kilwine and Velarde replace Cicerone and Dixon.
I can imagine that Kilwine's going in there to create a back four and really hold it defensively. And now you play with Dikwa and Velarde up top. You know, you really are getting good activity by Rivera and Wharton going forward. So Kilwine there to slow that ball down in transition and be effective on the defensive side of the ball.
That's J.C. Cortez, second appearance for the defender. Will replace Juan Castillo, the outside back. So a couple of changes here in the end for New York. 4 total changes, 2 per side. So Kilwine, it appears as expected, will start out here on the left, and I think you're absolutely right about going to 4 backs. Pittsburgh, of course, has the luxury of having 5 center backs that they really like, all after having lost seemingly their starting pair each of the last 2 years.
Riverhounds substitutions number 15, Anthony Velarde, and number 7, Alex Dixon. Number 23, Preston Kilwine, and number 10, Russell Cicerone.
As you can see, that line of confrontation for Pittsburgh has dropped quite a bit. You can hear Bob Lilly asking that back line to really step up its line. I mean, you're going to drop the line of confrontation, but that does not mean you want to get spread out there. Here, a foul on Peters. And the physical play throughout the night, and Peters going right through LaCava.
Well, there's LaCava, Edelman.
Be aware of the runner. JC, be aware of the runner. The runner's coming out, Joe.
Edelman, header down, and that's a simple bounce. Tomble got forward, and Vitiello comfortably claims. Well, this is a New York team that's given up 20 goals, but they've scored plenty, and on set pieces, they haven't looked out of sorts. This is the 30th ranked defensive team in the championship at this stage. It's obviously a bit of a misnomer, a 7-0 loss to Hartford, one where the wheels fell off, but with 15 minutes to go here, we're getting a far better look at what New York truthfully appears to be. Potential, as always, to be an offensive juggernaut and trying to put Pittsburgh to the sword here late. Riverhounds trying to pick up their first home win of the 2021 campaign. Sprint is on here. Dikwa pressuring. Edelman not able to get there. It's Forbes. Forbes breaking through, rolling this across, nobody home.
Forbes looking to record his second assist on the night. But New York really, throughout the match and throughout the evening, you've shown that what you've seen everybody talking about throughout the season is how dangerous they can be in the attack. You know, you talk about the goals given up, and obviously the 7 against Hartford a couple games ago. I mean, going into this match, they've conceded 20 goals. with an average of 2.22 goals per game, but you can absolutely see that it's just fine-tuning the details. And for the 2 Pittsburgh goals, it's those second chance opportunities. You've got the numbers behind the ball. It's just being alert and staying switched on in those moments when a ball in that first half goes off the post, and then, you know, that second chance opportunity is created. Danny Griffin with the service on the second goal and the build up there. I'm really impressed with what this team has done throughout the night as they search for that equalizer.
Zielinski cut off, and on the dribble, Kilwine, the former New York Red Bull player. Bob Lilly spoke about trying to get a little more consistency out of Kilwine. He arrived as a trialist in New York. Grew up, favorite athlete was Thierry Henry. Ultimately got to play for the same organization for a couple years' time out of Florida Gulf Coast. Down in Florida, on the Gulf Coast. The absurdity of it caught me mid-statement.
Captain Obvious.
I was actually driving the boat over there.
Johnny, give him a chance.
But Kilwine available over the offseason. New York really liked elements of his game, but Pittsburgh taking the 6'4" defender, and happy to have a little more depth there. Hopefully see a little more time in this busy stretch, but can't start all of them when you're playing 4 games in 12 days. So Kilwine off the bench, play outside back to try and stymie New York late. Forbes drops back. Good on the dribble from Rivera and nearly for Velarde.
And we talked about the possibility of bringing Weed off because he's playing on the yellow, but leaving him on, but just kind of adding supporting cast around him to help him defend how dynamic that front line has been for New York tonight, and really allowing him to not always have to play 1v1 defensively, knowing that in moments he can just slow the ball down and having the support in behind him.
And here comes the pressure again. A little flat-footed here from Pittsburgh. Rolled over by LaCava. Good sweeping motion through. Somehow maintained and pops out to Velarde. Driven through now, and Goma. And there is Vitiello. Absolutely vital. Conversely, Pittsburgh has to be just flummoxed by this kid. Serge Ngoma after it again.
And Vitiello has had to come up big with so many balls played over the top of this. I mean, what a clever little ball right there. And Ngoma, well-timed run, but Vitiello, I mean, just really making himself as big as he could.
15 years old, John Wallenick told me earlier this year, he's a really nice kid, but he's got an edge to him. And we're seeing an element of that playing out as a substitute here in the second half. He almost feels destined for a goal. Driven away from So. 10 minutes to go. Pittsburgh wins the ball. And now Dikwa gets cleaned out as he plays this into the wide area. Cascading down the line. Cut back toward Velarde. Rolls all the way through the 6 and out.
Again, another good counter by Pittsburgh. I mean, the patience by Canardo Forbes there to let the runs develop. I think everybody sees that ball played out into the right side, out wide, and you want it to go fast. You want them to pick up the pace, but the patience to watch the runs develop. But going back to Ngoma, I mean, you bring off a player like Mitchell that was really dangerous throughout that first half, and obviously got about 15 minutes there in the second half. Really poor turnover here.
Yeah, back pass taken by Dikwa, crossing for Velarde. Oh! Luca Lewis! Unreal to get that away. And if New York somehow gets a point tonight, they'll point to that. Still now Ngoma. He got lassoed off the ball.
I mean, both of these goalkeepers.
Another turnover. This is wild. Vitiello will get a deep breath.
I mean, just exchanging saves. I mean, and this just goes back to how wide open this game has been. I mean, the service here by Deco, and what an extended save there by Lewis. I mean, at first you see the ball served in, and you just think there's no way that they're going to be able to play that ball back across the face of goal by Velarde, but the ability to do that, and then Lewis with the save, I mean,
if you're Bob Lilly, you're thinking you were playing with your food far too much. Velarde has to feel unlucky not to bang that home. And Luca Lewis, who's gotten calls to the under-20s, came up through Torino in Italy, was actually stuck in New York because of COVID, signed in September. Got a couple starts in at the tail end of the season. Coming up with a major stop. All the while, change here for New York. And this is going to be Nicholas Nee coming onto the field for New York. Going to replace So up front. That's the fourth substitute used by New York. And that's a Pittsburgh foul with not a ton in it from Forbes.
and I think everybody would be interested to see what a complete game from this New York Red Bulls 2 side looks like, because I mean, you look at the players on the field and throughout this 84 minutes, I mean, they just have so many individual players and talented players that they could break you down in so many different phases of the game, whether it's in possession, whether it's at the top of the 18 individually with link-up play. We've seen a couple balls played over the top. I mean, they've got to feel like they should be at least at 2-2 and level here in this match.
Should be noted, by the way, Nicholas Nee is making his USL Championship debut. So welcome to the club to Nicholas Nee for New York. Into the wide area here for Red Bulls 2. Hammered across. That's a clear handball by Williams. And a set piece just outside the penalty area. By the way, of the 4 substitute used by New York, one can buy a lottery ticket and none of them can have a drink.
Just a lot of youth and really, but just a lot of dynamic talent for New York. And for Pittsburgh, they can sit here and say they've been here before with holding on to that late lead against Tampa Bay just recently.
Adelman appeared to go for goal. Swung it wide of the post. And we're getting all the sights and sounds of Highmark Stadium. Freight train, passenger boat, clipper, jet skis, carnival music.
Can't imagine what a Saturday night is. This much going on a Friday night. I mean,
and you've been to PNC Park, same deal. I mean, just what a tremendous venue to just look out over the city here, take in a game.
And just a great sports town as well. And great fan bases for all of their organizations.
Let's go Pens.
I was waiting for that.
Uh-huh.
Somehow resident of Ohio becomes a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, but
this will roll all the way down and deflect out for a corner. For what it's worth, I've gotten the chance to do public address one time at Madison Square Garden for a New York Rangers game, and it was against the Penguins.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So there are 9 people in the building because of COVID rules, and I'm one of the 9 or so. All the while here, Pittsburgh trying to put this one on ice. Throw Riverhounds. Forbes will take his time. You got to give that back. Thank you. Rivera will throw.
You're just unfazed by the massive train moving behind them.
You don't become a season ticket holder to not understand how to take that in.
They chose those seats.
That's true. You're next to the pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
And the train. Time is of the essence now for New York. Taking the ball away. And Goma still. That never left the field of play. Knapp. Knapp again. That's poor. And now can Pittsburgh put New York to the sword? Tomble was there. Again, another turnover, and this time a foul. Free kick here for Pittsburgh.
I mean, just consecutive turnovers by New York, and Rivera having the opportunity to go forward. Foul by Edelman. Have to imagine that Pittsburgh's going to want to really take the air out of the ball and slow this game down, and in every opportunity that they can, whether it's in possession, earning set pieces, as we see another sub.
Danny Griffin's going to come off. And that's Jalen Robinson. All 5 center backs are on the field now for Pittsburgh. This is a game of Red Bull Red Rover. Hey, Riverhounds fans, mini flex plans are 6 undated vouchers to use any way you want over the 2021 season to catch the Hounds in action. Use them all for one game. Spread them out through the season. Up to you. On sale now. Plans start at $90. Call the box office 412-865-GOAL.
That's how you did that. That was well done.
Okay. Picked up by Lewis. And into the 90th minute we go.
Wheat coming off for Pittsburgh. I mean, obviously the choice sitting on the yellow with this New York team really still asking a lot of questions of this Pittsburgh defense.
Oh, and apologies there. The numbers up on the board there had me a bit fooled, didn't they? More logical sub. Robinson for Wheat. Throw here in New York. We are headed towards stoppage time. This game has had it all, and it'll have it all for another 6 minutes.
There will be a minimum of 6 minutes stoppage time at the end of the game. A minimum of 6 minutes stoppage time.
Through ball floats out toward midfield. Dequa from his backside kept that alive. But Zielinski still.
If you're both coaches, I mean, you just look at moments throughout this match and positive, negative. I mean, for New York, you have to feel like you should have been able to find the second goal equalizer. And then same with Pittsburgh. I mean, you go back to the save against, save for Lewis. And Bob Lilly has got to be a little disappointed with how open this game was, but he knew that there was going to be a lot of pace in the field for New York, and they were going to be They were interchanging. They were, and again, a lot of good link-up play and confident in possession.
Napa foul. New York ended 3 straight losses to arguably the 3 top teams in the group, depending on who you ask. Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, Hartford. 3-0, 1-0, 7-0 with a 3-1 win against Charlotte, who, if the top 3 are Hartford, Pittsburgh, and Tampa, you'd say Charlotte is next in line. But this one would sting a bit, given the number of chances created. A reminder of the Atlantic Division here.
And I think for Pittsburgh, again, if they can hold on for these 3 points, I mean, you sit back and then you can watch these games for Charlotte, and you can watch these games for Tampa at Hartford.
Effort in there by Griffin. One more goal would seal the deal at this stage, you'd have to say. Griffin, clever. Zielinski. This is a throw, not a corner. And that's massive. Deekwa disagrees.
And going to your point about the 3rd goal, I mean, it's really the same comment that Bob Lilly made about the Tampa Bay Rowdies game. Is you go up 2-0, you find that 3rd goal, and the result, you know, is a little bit easier to see out. You know, same situation here. And holding on to 2-1, you know, with plenty of time for New York to really spring a counterattack and find the equalizer.
Whew. Deekwa feeling himself.
Really trying to keep that ball in that corner and trying to just see this game out. Whether it's earning a corner kick or the throw-ins there in the deep corner, making New York have to go the full length of the field to try to find the equalizer as well.
Forbes.
And with as impressed as we've been with this New York performance, I mean, you do have to kind of go back to that basic concept that 3 points is 3 points, and you've got to find a way to not only equalize, but if you really feel like you've outplayed a team in their own building, then you have to find a way to get a result. For as well as New York has played, they just have not been able to find that 2nd goal.
And the Pittsburgh defense has stiffened significantly down the stretch as well. Another tough collision. Zielinski. Forbes is saying that foul on Deekwa should have gone the other way. You can tell Deekwa is simply out of gas. His average appearance this year is 63 minutes. Put this in context.
And as much as we give credit for New York and the way they've played, I mean, you mentioned it, that Pittsburgh defensively, I mean, they've tightened up. You know, Vidiello coming up big in moments. Save on Ngoma. Have to defend a couple more situations here at the end.
Adelman forward, and this time sure-handed by Vidiello. We've hit the end of the minimum of 6 minutes. Now we'll continue on into uncharted territory.
Really positive here by Vidiello. Just goes up and with pressure around him this time, really secures it. And that should be able to allow Pittsburgh to see this game out.
Velarde nearly found his way through individually. Can Red Bulls get one more good look here? They should have another attack in them if they can get a hold of the ball. But this will roll over calmly. And Forbes, who's become the all-time assist leader, joint with Kevin Kerr. This is a throw for Red Bull. How long does the referee want to give now? Quickly thrown in, and powered forward. Away by Kilwine, the former Red Bull. A look at the watch. Knapp. Riverhounds on it. Salting away this 2-1 advantage. And ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has just left the building. 2-1 Pittsburgh. Canardo Forbes, assist number 27. And Bob Lilly is smiling like a butcher's dog, making his way over to John Wallenick. He said all week how difficult this match would be. And the Riverhounds have just enough in them tonight to get their first home win and send the Red Bulls packing. It's up to second in the Atlantic Division for Pittsburgh.
And really solid performance by both sides. Just a gritty performance by Pittsburgh. You know, probably not their best on the night. You know, Red Bulls going to feel like they should have been able to find the equalizer. A little surprised that we saw all 3 goals in the first half. And with all the action and how dynamic each team was in the attack in the second, you know, staying at 2-1. But credit to Pittsburgh finding their first victory at home, you know, and continuing this run of play that has had them see a draw, 2 wins on the road, and now 3 points at home.
Mission accomplished for Pittsburgh here tonight. We'll wrap this up when we return to Highmark Stadium. 3 goals all in the first half, 2 belong to Pittsburgh, and it's all smiles alongside the Monongahela.
The summer is heating up, and so are the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. On Saturday, July 3rd, the Charlotte Independents are back at Highmark Stadium for a 7 p.m. kickoff. On Saturday, July 17th, the Hounds square off against Loudoun United FC for another Saturday night showdown. Group and individual tickets on sale now. Visit riverhounds.com or talk to a ticket representative at 412-865-GOAL. Pleasant Valley Golf Club, nestled in the Laurel Highlands of southwestern Pennsylvania, is now open to the public. Enjoy 18 holes of championship golf with a new island green and fully stocked pro shop. Our clubhouse features a large ballroom for weddings or private parties, 2 restaurants serving delicious food, a sports bar, 2 state-of-the-art golf simulators, and an outdoor patio with gas fire pit and picturesque view. Pleasant Valley Golf Club, now open to the public. Summer is almost here, and so are the Riverhounds Academy Summer Technical Clinics. We have 3 sessions which are geared to players interested in developing technical skills in multiple areas over the course of the week. Clinics are led by Riverhounds Development Academy trainers and current professional Riverhounds players. Clinics start July 5th, open to players 7 to 14 years old. Register online or contact the Academy office at 412-325-7238.
Riverhounds win this one. Wharton scores his first in a Riverhounds jersey. Albert Dequa grabs one as well in the 41st. It proves to be the game winner. And the Riverhounds move to second in the hotly contested Atlantic Division. With Eric Dobransky, Mike Watts to wrap this one up at full time. We begin back in the 14th minute. Canardo Forbes nearly didn't get the chance here for the assist. Dequa off the post. Wharton's there, though.
And for Pittsburgh in this first half, it was all about second chance opportunities in the build-up play. And then here off the post, Canardo Forbes showing his patience, just playing this wonderful ball to Wharton across the face of the 18-yard box. And Wharton no doubt about it, finds the back of the net.
Skip ahead to the 26th minute. Ball launched across, lost by Vitiello. This will come off Wheat in the end.
And really an unfortunate moment for Vitiello because he had made such big saves leading up to that with the set piece save against Raffanello and the breakaway on Mitchell, and then just spills that one, and it turns into an own goal. And then here again, second chance opportunity with numbers in the box. Cicerone, the awareness to play this ball back across the face of the 6-yard box, and Dikwa again finding the back of the net, putting the Riverhounds up 2-1.
Eric, here are the final stats and a chance for your final thoughts in a game where Red Bull 2 puts up 16 shots but fails to get that second goal.
The inability to be clinical in front of, and in the final third, they just could not find that final product. I mean, you outshoot Pittsburgh 16 shots, 5 on target. You own possession at 52%, but as good as they were in that attacking third, you've got to find a goal and you've got to find a final product and be clinical there.
So Pittsburgh goes away to Loudoun on Wednesday, and then on July the 3rd, they'll welcome Charlotte back here to Highmark Stadium for New York. Doesn't get any easier. They'll host Miami, and then, as we mentioned, it could be the witching hour at Charlotte, at Hartford in the Atlantic Division. This was some kind of soccer match. Might even be worth the full rewatch. You can see it on the ESPN app. For Eric Dobransky and our entire Vista WorldLink team, led by producer Tim McDermott, director Eric Falero, Manny Simone, and Ivan Velasquez, Mike Watts saying so long from Pittsburgh, where the Riverhounds get it done. 2-1 over New York. Good night from Pennsylvania.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.